All right, great. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started since we're 5 after. So today we're going to be going over biology semester 1, lesson 2.4.1, which is over scientific investigations out of the homeostasis unit 2. So anyways, if you have a question at any time, please feel free to...
Patterson, please report to the attendant's office. Asia Patterson.
I apologize for that. I'm still at my brick and mortar. It just got over, and so they're doing after school stuff. Okay, so we're going to go through the first question. In the following lab problem, what is the manipulated variable? How does light affect plant growth? So when we're looking for the manipulated variable, we're looking for the variable that is going to be manipulated or changed by the experimenter. So how does light affect plant growth? So what is the thing we are changing? Oop, I think we lost somebody. Yep, okay, we're down to just one person, but that's okay. Can you hear me? Your phone number's on there. Are you hearing me at all? You didn't buzz in. Oh, Tyler's back. Tyler, can you hear me? Okay, maybe not, maybe so. Okay, we'll just keep going. Okay, anyway, so the manipulated variable, also known as the independent variable, is the one that is going to be changing or being changed by the experimenter. And so in this example, how does light affect plant growth? The manipulated variable is the light. So that is what we would mark because it is going to affect the plant growth. If it was asking for the responding variable or the dependent variable, we would say it was the plant growth because that is what we were actually measuring. Any questions on number 1? Okay. Number 2, the manipulated variable is what you are measuring in an investigation. The manipulated variable is what you are measuring in an investigation. Okay, we have a question. Is manipulated the same as the independent variable? Yes, the manipulated variable is the same as the independent variable. They are used interchangeably. And so if you hear someone refer to independent or manipulated, it is the same thing. Just different textbooks use it differently. Good question. Okay, so the manipulated variable is what you are measuring in an investigation. So I said up here on problem number 1 that the manipulated variable is the thing we are changing, but we did not talk about the one that is actually being measured. So this is incorrect. It is false because the responding variable or the dependent variable is what we are going to be actually measuring. And I like to use the word dependent variable rather than responding, because if you think of dependent variable and then you think of it as data, they both start with D, so dependent for data. It's some sort of data. So this would be false. Questions on number 2? Is everybody understanding number 2? Okay. The responding variable, which is what I would be calling the dependent variable, is the same thing, is what you are blank based on the changes of the manipulated variable. So responding variable is what we are going to be measuring. It's going to be either in quantitative or qualitative data. So you can measure with your 5 senses, sight, hearing, touch, taste, all those ones. That's qualitative data that you can see, like I can see a color change, or I can touch a spine change or something. But quantitative data is going to be our data like I have 7 beans, or the plant grew 6 centimeters, etc. So the responding variable is the one that we are measuring because of what we manipulated in the other variable. Questions about number 3? Okay. All right, number 4 is the good old scientific method. So we have to figure out what order to put these in. And I think some people are probably getting messed up on this one because the numbers, how they correspond with the answers are mixed up. So let's try and put these together. So when we're about to carry out a scientific investigation, we always want to think there has to be some sort of problem. So I use like, I had them here. I think I threw them away. Like a mini bag of M&Ms, okay? So pretend I'm holding a mini bag of M&Ms. And I say, I want to know, tell me something you might want to know about a mini bag of M&Ms. Does anybody have one? I'll give you one, for example. So maybe I want to know how many M&Ms are in the M&M bag, right? So is that a problem or a question? Yes, it is. A problem or a question is how many M&Ms are in the bag? So what I do is I go through and I say, okay, that's my question or my problem I have. The next thing is I have to make a hypothesis, which is my predicted answer for how many M&Ms are in that bag. Now, a lot of people think my hypothesis has to be correct. That is not true. A hypothesis must just be testable, okay? So I need to fill out number 1 is state the problem and the question. So that would be D because it is 1. Let's see, I have a chat message here. Hey, Tyler, do you have, I tried to get you on earlier. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Can you tell me what you think the next step is after a hypothesis on the investigation? Oh, Tyler can hear me now. Yay. Okay, Tyler, do you want to ring in or do you want to just answer it on chat? What makes you more comfortable? Okay. All right. To make a hypothesis. Okay, good. So yes, the next one is to make a hypothesis. And we always think about a hypothesis must be testable. So if I'm still talking about my M&M example, I would say, what is a valid hypothesis? Is it okay to say, I think there are 12 M&Ms because that's just the way I'm feeling? Is that something measurable? Can we measure the way you're feeling? No. So you have to come up with something that is an explanation. I think there are 12 M&Ms because when I looked at the bag, I felt about 12 in the bag, or that's about how much room there is. Something that is actual testable that we could do. So good, Tyler, make a hypothesis. So we're gonna change, hypothesis is gonna be second, so that is A, okay. The next thing, so we have our problem or question, we've come up with our hypothesis, which is that we think there's this many. Now, what do you think the next step is in the scientific method? Okay, Rachel, yes, gather materials. So I can't actually start an investigation until I have gathered all the materials for the investigation. Now, this one is kind of silly. I'm talking about M&Ms in a bag, but when it comes more complex, like maybe I want to test the type of fertilizer that makes sunflowers grow the tallest, okay? And before I can test the type of fertilizers, I have to go get the fertilizers. I have to go get the plants. I have to go get the soil. I have to get the pots. I have to get all of those supplies. So it becomes more complicated. So yes, we must gather our materials. So that is 3, which is B, okay? And then let's see, after we have all of our materials, let's go to my sunflower example. I want to test the type of fertilizer that makes sunflower seeds grow the tallest, okay? So I have all of my materials. I have stated my problem. I don't know which fertilizer does it. I make a hypothesis. I think fertilizer A will make it grow the tallest because it has the most nitrogen. I've gathered all my materials. Now, what is the next thing? What are we ready to do? Tyler, do you have an idea? What are we ready to do now? Anybody? Collect data. Okay, so that is an awesome idea. We definitely need to collect data. But before we can collect that data, we have to actually carry out the procedure. So we have gathered all the materials. So now we're going to put them all together, and then we're going to collect the data. Does that make sense? So they are interchangeable, and I can see how you may have gotten that one confused. Okay, yeah, you said it does make sense. Okay, great. So let's carry out the procedure next, which would be number 4. So if we look over here, number 4 is E. And then, like Tyler said, collect the data, which will be number 5, which is C. And then, last but most certainly not least, we must conclude. It is super important to conclude, not only for ourselves, to make sure we can accept or reject our hypothesis. So our hypothesis may have been correct, and that's awesome and fine, but it could have been incorrect as well, and that's also awesome and fine, as long as we can reject or support that hypothesis at the end. So we're gonna go with F6, okay? All right, any questions on number 4, Tyler, before we go, or are you understanding the steps? Or Rachel, are you having any questions about that as well? Or can I move on? I understand. Okay, great, Tyler. All right, Rachel's okay too. Okay, so number 5, the controlled variable in an investigation is the controlled variable. Sorry, chat on phone isn't great. No problem, Rachel. We're just so glad you're in the meeting. Okay, the controlled variable is an investigation that is not needed, can be changed, stays the same to provide a comparison, or is what is measured. Okay, I'm gonna bring you over here to my chalkboard. Okay, tell me if you can see. Okay, I'm gonna set it up here. Okay, so let's pretend we're going to do the experiment. Wait, I probably need to put you back onto, can you guys see me? Can you guys see me? Let me know if you can see me. Can you see me on my board? Yay, okay, Tyler, you can see me. Okay, great. Okay, so let's go back to my fertilizer example of what type of fertilizer grows sunflower seeds the tallest, okay? So let's pretend this is pot 1, pot 2, 3, and 4. So do not judge my artistic ability. It's not fantastic. Okay, so those are my pots. Can you guys see that? I'm sorry if it's hard to see. Okay, let's show sunflower 1. This is a sunflower. I know it's hard to tell. Sunflower, okay? Not super artsy. Oops, broke my chalk. Okay, those are my 4 pots that I'm going to grow sunflower seeds or sunflowers in, and I'm going to test the type of fertilizer that I'm going to use. Okay, so let's say in pot 1, I'm going to give it no fertilizer. Okay, pot 2, I'm going to give it fertilizer A, pot 3, fertilizer B, and pot 4, fertilizer C. Okay, now, can you turn off screen share so you will be big? I think I can, but I'm not quite sure how to do that, how to turn it off. Because I go to, maybe.
Jenna, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I think that there's a button like where you start screen share to just stop the screen share if you click it again. Or if you push on where your video is under participants, there's 3 small rectangle boxes. If you click on the biggest one, it'll expand.
Did that work?
Picture. Let me switch back.
I don't know if it worked.
Oh, that just took you off.
Oh.
So you'll need to switch.
Oh. Okay, when I go to new share, it just brings up my desktop or my different things on my computer.
Are you able to click the participants?
Okay, on participants, manage participants. Oh, I think I
yeah,
see.
So there's, yeah, your video, you just need to make it bigger.
Oh, it's trying to make me rename it. Let's see if I can. No, I don't see where it says to do that. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, on manage
You can just put me back on then.
And then I can't, it's either I can mute or rename when I go to click on it. There's no option for the video for me to click on.
The participants list where you can see your own video right above your picture, you should see the option to expand.
All right. Any questions about?
What was that?
So if you pull up the participants list, not manage participants, but where your video is above your picture, you should see the option to expand it.
That just, okay, let's see.
That's okay. If you can't get it, we can just go back to the smaller view.
Sorry, I don't know if it's just me or if I literally can't find it, but.
That's okay. No worries.
Literally
Let's
looking
just bring you back up and then we got the idea, I think.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Okay, okay, so let's go back to, so if I want to give no fertilizer to the first pot, fertilizer A, fertilizer B, and fertilizer C. Okay, so my question is, why do I need to give pot 1 no fertilizer? Why wouldn't I give pot 1 a different type of fertilizer, like A, B, C, and then do D here? So why would I not give this one any fertilizer at all? Does anybody have an idea, Tyler? Do you want to chime in? Why do you think I need to give pot 1 no fertilizer? Okay, so let's just pretend. So let's say that my first pot grew my sunflower all the way up here to the top. My second grew it all the way up here to the top. My third kept it the same. And my fourth pot, it died a little bit, okay? So can I say that A was the best fertilizer in this example? Or can I say A is the best? To see how much the other ones grow with the fertilizer. Yes, absolutely, Tyler, you are correct. You have to have a means of comparison. If I have A that grows all the way up here to the top, and I also have my one with no fertilizer that grows up here to the top, I cannot infer that fertilizer A is the best working fertilizer because it is going to be not able to show a difference because no fertilizer and fertilizer A both grew the same height. Now, if I have a different scenario where, let's pretend no fertilizer stayed right here the same, fertilizer A went up high, this one stayed the same, and this one again died down a little bit low. Now, what can I say? Can I say that fertilizer A is the best? Does anybody know if I can answer that? Did we get another person? Awesome. Hey, welcome to the session. We are on number 5 on 2.4.1, and we're talking about that. So we can infer now that, hey, fertilizer A is the best because it grew tall. And we know that because we can compare it to my control group, which is not getting anything done to it. Okay? So I hope that helped you, give you a visual. I'm so sorry I couldn't get the screen large. I don't know. I'm gonna have to meet with somebody later and find out how to do it. Okay, so the control variable is an investigation that stays the same to provide a comparison. So that is what we are going for. All right, we are done with the first part of this live session. And so right now I wanted to open it up to anybody that has any questions or comments, or maybe you need some help with other classwork. Maybe you just have a question for me. Can I help anybody on here with anything they need to know? It can be biology related or anything related with anything else. Does anybody want to chime in? You can chime in with your microphone, or you can chat message me too, whichever one works better for you. Anybody have anything at all? Yes, no, maybe so. We'll wait a few minutes in case anybody's typing. Amy, I see that you're on now. Amy, do you have any questions for me in science related or non-science related? Any questions? If you want to send in the chat message, that's fine too, or you can just chime in. Okay, so nobody has any questions for me? Do you want to just chime in and tell me yes or no? That would be great. Oh, okay, we're getting something from somebody. Okay, Amy does not have any questions. Amy, I know you kind of pulled in late, but if you were having trouble with this assignment, there will be a place where you can locate this and go and watch the video if you're having trouble with scientific investigations or the scientific method in general. I think it could be beneficial to you. So please go back and watch that since you missed the first part, okay? Okay, Tyler, do I have any questions from you? No questions from Tyler. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, Amy, great. I'm glad you're going to do that. Okay, if I have no questions, I guess we're done because I don't really know what else to talk about. So I just want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to go through this. Oh wait, is there anything you recommend or have noticed people have a hard time with? As far as the scientific method, Rachel, is that what you're wondering? Or as far as like the course? In general in biology. Okay, so my students usually struggle with the scientific method. That's why I wanted to go over it today, and picking out variables out of an experiment like we were just doing. Picking out the measure or the manipulated variable and the responding variable. It's hard to pick those out. And so it's also hard to understand the need for a control group. So sometimes we have trouble picking out those variables, but it's super important, not necessarily to know the steps of a scientific method, but be able to apply biology in your general life when you need to use the scientific method. That's usually what I see trouble with. Okay, well, if nobody has any other questions, thanks for spending time out of your day with me. And I hope you tune in next time. I should be doing this again in 2 Wednesdays. Thank you so much and have a great day.